All right, so today what we're going to do is we're going to look at some information about George Washington's presidency. Now, we're going to have notes that we're going to have on one side, and we're going to have our note page. You can see we have pictures. Now, each one of these pictures, they're going to correspond with a picture on our slide. When you get that information, please write it down over here to the side. Now, in my infinite non-planning, I did not plan for the first slide. So down here in the very bottom, would you write down here in this area the information from the first slide? It's not very much, it's just some key things that we need to remember about George Washington. So the first thing that we have is just a little bit about George Washington's background. Now, we know that he was the general of the Revolutionary Army. He was the commander-in-chief and led them through victory over the British. He displayed great leadership during this time. He united the country even though they were very upset about the war. He presided as president of the Constitutional Convention. So when they were writing the Constitutional Convention, he sat there and he told everybody, try to keep everybody calm, cool, and collected. And so it was worked out. And then finally, that he was elected as the first president of the United States. So that's why he's always on the $1 bill, number one. What we're going to do here is we're going to look at some precedents or things that he did first that established how each president works from then on. So first, we have domestic policy. So you see the little house right here. So on your notes, we have the house. So right down here, this is our domestic policy information. He had to maintain national security from people causing issues. Now think back to Shays' Rebellion, how Shays' Rebellion was able to shut down the entire government under the Articles of Confederation. We have the new document, which is the Constitution in power, and we have the Whiskey Rebellion. Now, during the Whiskey Rebellion, many farmers were upset about the rising costs of grain and the cost of whiskey. Doing this, they protested and did the exact same thing, went through there and took over courthouses. However, Washington showed up with the military and crushed the rebellion. So basically, he showed up and he brought in the pain, and the people were not able to handle it. He showed up with the entire army to take out, a couple thousand farmers. During Shays' Rebellion, this would not have happened, but this showed the new power of the Constitution and established the precedent that he or the president would defend the nation and the country from unlawful rebellions from then on out. The next one that we have is we're going to match with the money, is we're going to create a stable economic system. He created the National Bank through the leadership of Alexander Hamilton. And it would create a national currency or money for the United States and allow for the government to gain credit from other countries and trade with other countries. Without the bank, we didn't have a central area for everybody to take care of their business. Next, we're going to set up a court system, The Constitution only created the Supreme Court. So what we had to do is set up court systems other than that to help take care of some of the load. What they're going to do is they're going to create the Federal Judiciary Act, which is a law that is designed the state and federal court systems to help alleviate the stress on the Supreme Court and make it for really only important cases versus just everyday lawsuits. The next thing that we did is we had defining the authority of the central government. And what doesn't say authority like Uncle Sam with giant muscles? Now, what's going to happen here is Washington's going to create a cabinet, and the cabinet positions are going to be helping him give advice to figure out really what needs to happen. The first cabinet was very small. Today, there's about 15, 16 cabinet positions. Originally, there were only 4. Secretary of State, Thomas Jefferson. Secretary of the Treasury, Alexander Hamilton. Secretary of War, which we now call Department of Defense, was Henry Knox. And the Attorney General, Edmund Randolph. And so these 4 gentlemen, along with John Adams and George Washington, helped really run the entire country, and they gave all the advice needed for George Washington. Finally, our foreign policy. Now, England and France tend to fight a lot. Every time you turn around, they're fighting each other. They're cousins, and so they kind of get along. They fight a lot. So what's going to happen is that England and France, with them continually fighting, are always going to be trying to get the United States on their side. And Washington, realizing that the United States is not a strong country at this point, he's going to go through there and he's going to declare neutrality. Neutrality means that you don't take anybody's side. And by not taking a side, the United States would not join in the fighting. Because if you join in the losing side, you lose land and territory, money and prestige. That we didn't have a whole lot of that. In France, it was really tough to tell them no due to the fact they helped us throughout the revolution. So these are the precedents or first things that Washington was able to do to help defend and raise our country up.